Since the 1970s and for the following 2 decades, the South African defence industry was 100% dependent upon local defence requirements to sustain its business. The end of the Angolan War and the end of apartheid steadily eroded local military requirements to a fraction of their former value. In 1999, the South African government modernized a substantial portion of its defence capability through the acquisition of major military systems from international OEMs, which became better known as the Strategic Defence Packages. Participation of South African companies in the Strategic Defence Packages was a mandatory requirement, and this resulted in all of the main contractor contenders investigating and analyzing the local South African defence industry capability. This provided an immense advantage to local companies as foreign OEMs visited South Africa on an unprecedented scale and provided local companies with invaluable exposure and marketing potential to the rest of the world. The partnerships formed between local and international companies due to the interaction and strategic defence procurement requirements resulted in Avitronics being acquired by SAAB, to be now known today as SAAB Grintek Defence. Even before the SAAB investment, Avitronics at the time manufactured communications control panels for SAAB for use in the early models of Gripen. The Strategic Defence Program exposed Avitronics to the greatest SAAB. The EW expertise that existed in South Africa filled a niche offering in the SAAB EW portfolio, and it continues to do this until today. SAAB Grintek Defence benefited from this in that the offset requirements ensured business was brought to South Africa for several platforms, including EW suites and avionics systems. SAAB Grintek Defence today benefits from being part of a multinational company with a global business footprint. It has access to SAAB's global business development and marketing organization and support. As part of SAAB or any other global company, niche businesses like SAAB Grintek Defence gets access to larger programs and the visibility and exposure to global markets. When SAAB Sweden wins major success anywhere, the knock-on effect for smaller business units increases. An example of this is the Gripen factor. When Gripen sells, doors open for other products to be included. The Strategic Defence Package approach has greatly enhanced access to international defence markets, modernized production facilities, whilst maintaining a world-class product portfolio in EW self-protection systems and avionics systems for SAAB Grintek Defence, which may not have materialized without this acquisition. All partnerships are intended to be mutually beneficial in one way or another to all partners. The South African defence industry had this requirement in the past and still has for the following reasons. The decline in local defence spending in difficult budget conditions does not allow for sustainment or growth locally. This is evident in the low number of surviving defence companies compared to 2 decades ago. Many South African defence companies would not have been exposed to international business had it not been for the offset obligations and exposure around the strategic defence packages. From an export control and restrictions perspective, the ability of South African defence companies to be able to design, develop, and export to regions of the world to which the EU, US, and NATO countries take a more restrictive view is an added advantage to foreign OEMs. Participation in NATO programs are very often restricted to the EU or NATO country suppliers. Participation in these programs is only possible via part ownership or subcontractor partnerships with supplier OEMs in the EU or NATO. In order to ensure a constant flow of orders, it helps to be part of the supply chain of a larger OEM, as a preferred supplier or just as a supplier company. As suppliers are assured that OEM orders translate to orders on suppliers without any further marketing requirements. These partnerships take several forms. Some examples are long-term supplier agreements, general supplier agreements, annual price lists, preferred supplier agreements, to name a few. The reduction in defence spending in South Africa had an effect on R&D spent as well. Companies are funding their own R&D almost entirely or find foreign partners interested in such endeavours. In some cases, Foreign companies approached South African defense companies with known intellectual properties and expertise to partner with for the development of technology and thereby creating a win-win solution. At SAAB Grintek Defence, we have been lucky to have a number of long-term partnerships with many large OEMs, ensuring our products are fitted in more than 30 countries around the world. I'll talk to two of these partnerships in the next few slides. The first example is an example with an Indian OEM, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or HAL for short. HAL is an engine-based aircraft OEM that develops and manufactures rotary and fixed-wing platforms for the commercial and military market. SGD's self-protection system was selected by HAL in 2004 as a standard fit on their advanced light helicopter platform for Indian users. The SGD solution was selected on price-performance criteria, and the case started off as a typical OEM relationship with direct supply of goods and services. The development phase of the program, which started in 2005, was concluded only in 2011, followed by serial production, which is currently still ongoing. More than 200 systems has been manufactured and supplied from South Africa. The case, however, has diversified into a technology transfer opportunity, with HAL now acquiring an in-country D-level capability, maintenance capability, with a local production capability in the process of being agreed and established. The relationship with HAL offers the potential beyond local production, with now a more strategic focus being developed, with joint marketing efforts to the end customer included, joint R&D programs with a view to product enhancement, and possibly also development of future product baselines. A credible workshare that meets local requirements is a key requirement by HAL, and thereby we're creating a win-win relationship that all parties benefit from. With the lack of R&D funding from South Africa, partnerships such as the HAL case is not only critical for local business sustainment, but also for opportunities to help maintain technology development activities, even through a foreign partnership arrangement. The second case study is an example with a European OEM. This relationship started in 2002 as a simple contractual order. We entered into a long-term agreement in 2010 and received a second order in 2012. This was the first contract that SGD received for the IDAS-3 system. A third order was received again in 2012, and those deliveries are still in progress today. As the business relationship further developed, the framework agreement was signed in 2015. This is a contract that is still in force. Various amendments are incorporated into this contract to allow for the specific requirements of the various end users. The newest addition is the Fifth Amendment, which addresses the agreement and requirements for that specific program. The mentioned business, as well as the potential future business prospects, is of crucial strategic value to SAAB Grintek Defence, and this has encouraged the company to model both its product strategy as well as certain of the company's business practices and processes to achieve and maintain a preferred supplier status. SGD's interpretation of these requirements is based upon continuous communication with the relevant partner personnel, as well as upon the significant higher level relationship that has been created over the years. Some of the key requirements in such a relationship is to have a price and product competitive offering, but just as critical is to be able to deliver on time and on specifications and on the right quality. Remember to consider obsolescence management and manage this accordingly, as there is a longer than a 10-year production requirement, and a full through life support must be considered as part of the competitive offerings. In conclusion, invest in long-term relationships. A long-term relationship allows parties to share risk and accountability. Provability on small contracts to be trusted for larger ones. Seize the opportunity. Don't chase EBIT initially, but focus on to get onto the platform. A long-term relationship will result in business sustainability and will provide good returns. Develop a shared vision and a foundation of mutual trust that clearly identifies the purpose and goals of the partnership. Leverage off the OEM marketing effort. Unlock markets through the OEM marketing efforts as a force multiplier. Once you're on the platform, it is difficult to be taken off. The OEM will market your product if you meet its performance expectations. customer relationship development and management. Create a shared platform for the exchange of ideas and information. Visibility and interaction at the highest level is required. Introduce new products together with the OEM partner, sharing the risk, but being open to your partner on the status of the product. Performance, 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 with adherence to scope, timelines, and quality is critical. Find ways to get closer to the OEM. And finally, leverage government relationships. That is all I have to speak to you on today. I'll be at the SAAB booth if you guys want to engage on this discussion further. Thank you for your time, and I hand over back to Ryan.